All right, there, Econ friends, welcome back. So in our last video, we covered a lot. Specifically, we took a look at the profit maximization decisions in the short run for a PC firm. And we walked away with a lot of information. Okay, number one, we recall that according to our profit definition, profit is equal to Q times P minus ATC. Therefore, in order to maximize profit, you have to determine Q and determine P and determine ATC. And we learned a really simple and effective three-step method to do that. With any graph you're given when it comes to profit max, step one, find MR equals MC, drop a dotted line straight down, that gives you Q. Done. Step two, take that dotted Q line up to the demand curve and go left to find P. Step three, take that same dotted Q line to the ATC curve, go to the left to find ATC. And once you've done those three steps, you'll have Q, you'll have P, you'll have ATC, and then it's simply a matter of looking at your numbers and using your formula or drawing your boxes to determine profit or loss. Good stuff. We also learned, my friends, if you recall, that there are basically three situations with some exceptions, so it's a bit more than three, right? But there's a handful of situations or outcomes that you can get. Let's start off by assuming that we have a Nike swoosh MC and an ATC and an AVC. Well, we learned that there's a few different potential situations. Situation one, something like this, where the price is above ATC. So you have a profit, you keep on producing, okay? So outcome number one, price is greater than ATC, and the reaction is, awesome, we're making profits, keep producing. We also had a situation that was right around here where price equaled ATC. Situation number two, price equals ATC. This was a break even. And this is still good because you're covering all of your economic costs, you're making normal profit. So situation two, break even, keep on producing. Then things got a little bit complicated because we had situation number three. And this was the case where price, which is here in the red line, was below ATC. So you have a loss, but was above AVC. In other words, price was below average total cost, but above average variable cost. It was sandwiched in between those two curves. This was the unique case that we called loss minimization, where you are losing money, but you still stay open, you still produce, you still supply. And then we had a situation where price was down here, and this was the double whammy, where price was below ATC, so you're losing money, and price was also below AVC. And this, my friends, you recall, was the shutdown case. So you ask, why am I reminding you of this? Well, I want to bring this to you. You'll recall in many of our earlier discussions, even in the second, third weeks of class, when we did basic supply and demand, I told you, we assumed that the firm's supply curve is upward sloping. Good question is, well, why? What's the logic behind that? Well, given this analysis that we just did, you now understand why. Since the competitive firm that intends to stay in business will maximize profit or minimize losses by producing, aka supplying, the output level where P is equal to MR is equal to MC, and the variable costs are covered. In other words, since the firm will supply for as long as the price is in excess of ABC, ready? Then the firm's short run supply curve is simply the portion of its short run marginal cost curve that lies above its minimum average, pardon me, its average variable cost. In other words, the firm's supply curve, the amount that it will produce or supply, is simply the portion of the MC curve that lies above the shutdown point. And here you see it. Let's do a little quick hit on this. We'll use the highlighted green to reflect the MC curve. We know that the firm will determine what to produce by setting P equal to MC. So the MC curve determines the output. The MC curve determines the supply. But we also know that the firm will only produce above the shutdown point, above the minimum ABC. So the firm will not produce right there. Therefore, what's left over, which is what the firm will supply, which is therefore the supply curve, is simply the portion of the marginal cost curve that lies above the shutdown point. That, my friends, is how we derive the firm's short-run supply curve. You assumed up until now that it's just upward sloping. Now you understand the mechanics behind it. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.